Our sixth school featured today is St. Joseph's College. The Pumas finished third in GLV last year with a 5-3 conference mark and were 6-5 overall. In 2007, St. Joseph's graduate Corey Sanders heads into his third season on the sideline and is joined today with senior quarterback Billy Van Burt. Coach and Billy, thanks for joining us today. Coach, give us a few opening comments on the Pumas' 2013 year.
Well, I guess we'll see once the games come around, but I'll tell you sort of how I base our seasons. We sort of go off our winter phase, which is to me the beginning of 2013. Then you transition to the spring phase, which is phase 2. Then the summer, and then sort of that final phase, that fourth phase is the season. And I'll tell you, through 1, 2, and 3, I think our kids have done a great job of buying in to what we do and what we preach as a coaching staff, and doing a great job of just accountability and buying into each other. So I'm very happy with where we've been through phase 1, 2, and 3, and now it's about this last mark, phase 4, and bringing these new freshmen and these new kids into the program, and our kids accepting them, welcoming them, and showing them, sort of how we do things around there and how we work.
Well, thanks, Coach. The Pumas have 11 starters returning on offense. You have a pretty good arm sitting right next to you, plus a second-team All-American wideout in Julian Walker to help guide the Puma offense. Why don't you talk a little bit about your offense?
I'd say offensively, we do have Billy coming back, and at the same time, we have guys right with him, Tate Borlick and Wade Bertrand, other quarterbacks that will be competing day in and day out at that position. Julian Walker comes back, like you said, second-team All-American, had great production for us last year. But I'm very excited about the other guys we do have coming back. We have E.J. Woody, who was actually injured last year, played as a freshman, coming back. We'll have Alfonso Hines back in the rotation, Joey Bischoff, Jamaica Cooper. We have a good stable of receivers, which makes it easier on Juice, or that's what we call him, Julian, where he's not counted on as much for big plays all the time. And we have a great backfield with about 4 to 5 backs that will probably be rotating, and you get different variations of those different type of backs we have. And up front, we're bringing back, I think, 3 3-year starters. We're bringing back a second-team all-conference player in Jake Styla, and that's a very cohesive unit up front. That's a good unit that we have that are very, very close on and off the field, that we're excited to lead overall, and our tight ends as well. So they've done a good job, and very excited with the different position groupings that we can have and able to put on the football field.
Billy came into last year having thrown for more than 2,500 yards for your career. Last season alone, you threw for 2,417. As a senior quarterback, talk about the advantages of having all your primary targets return and having the mindset, knowing all the men up front on the line come with a ton of experience as well.
Just as an overall unit, we're pretty confident going into this season. We kind of got the ball rolling last season offensively, scoring a lot of points every game. We want to continue to do that this year.
Coach, we move from offense to defense. You have several starters returning on defense, 9 in fact, including a couple of linebackers who showed they can get to the ball last year, and Gary Yeoman and Joel Weebley. Talk a little about those two guys and the unit as a whole.
The unit, exciting. There's going to be a little bit of changes and a little bit of different emphasis that we put on our defensive unit, get those guys going a little bit more than what they have in the past. But I'll tell you, those two, Gary Yeoman, he'll be a junior, has been a 2-year starter so far. Was actually voted a captain in the spring, so that shows you what his teammates think about him. Very hard worker. He's a kid that, from me as a coach, he just gets along with everybody, which I think that's great out of your captains and your leaders, to not only be a part of the linebacking core but the entire team. And Joel Wembley, very, very talented individual. First-team all-conference player as a freshman. I think he had 100-something odd tackles. Very humble, hard-working kid. Those two work very well together and do a good job with that linebacking core. So, as a defense and as well, our secondary, a lot of those kids, Drew Bird, Sheldon Martin, Chris Edgerton, those guys have a lot of game experience under their belt. So it's going to be a lot easier working with those guys, just understanding our concepts and what we do for doing it for the 3rd straight season. So just like we say on the offense, we're just excited about the defense with the overall experience that we do have returning.
Talk about special teams this year. Junior Sheldon Martin is the conference top returning kickoff returner, which is nice to have. He averaged 21.6 yards per return last year. Just quickly give us a rundown on your specialty teams.
Special teams, we'll have, Sheldon will be back in the mix again as one of the returners. We have quite a few other guys that will be back there for kick return, punt return. We have about 2 or 3 guys. We'll see how camp goes and see who wins that battle. The biggest thing about the special teams is we have Marcin Golick, who we redshirted last year. He'll be you'll see him out there this year punting the ball. Great punter, did a great job for us throughout the spring. But what that does is too, it relieves our kickers like Gavin Voss, who made some key field goals last year as a true freshman. Kicked a field goal in overtime to beat Quincy. Nailed a field goal in the last 2 minutes of the game against Valpo from I think 37 or 42 yards out. First college game for him. So those two are going to have a great deal, huge impact in our special teams of being able to change the field and being able to trust to leave the red zone or leave inside the 30 with coming out with points. So we got a lot of guys too that are going to be sort of those special team warriors on kickoff and punt team and punt return too.
Billy, start the season at home against Valparaiso, and matchup that will forever be tied to GLVC football history. Last year, you led the Puma comeback and defeated Valpo on the road 36-34 for the first ever GLVC football victory for the conference. Talk about having the distinction tied to you and the Pumas.
It's an honor to be the first team to win a game in the GLVC. Most of my teammates will say the same thing, to be able to look back in history and say, yeah, we did that.
Well, Billy, last year you were a member of this and participated in GLVC kickoff. Talk a little bit about what it's like to represent St. Joseph's and talk GLVC football in a preseason setting like this.
It's an honor. The GLVC has done a great job of putting all the teams together, having not only talk to the media but also talk to other players and see their experiences as well. Talking to Richie Redmond from McKendree, I played against him in high school. Just seeing the experience from high school all the way through college.
You bet.
It's pretty cool.
You form those ties in the conference after a while, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach and Billy, thanks for joining us on the GLVC's sports.com, and best of luck this season.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.